Guys, it doesn't happen often, but every once in a while there's a knife that comes in that I just don't like. This is the Kizer Ppy. You can see it there up on the screen real close. It's a knife that by all outward appearances I should love, but I really don't. So we're kind of going to get into why. There's nothing wrong with the knife. It's a really good knife. So with that being said, let's take a look at it from above right after you look at this logo. And we'll try and figure out why I don't like this knife. Like I said in the intro, guys, I'm not 100% sure why I don't like this knife. It could be just a culmination of a bunch of things, but we're going to look at this knife. This is the Kizer Ppy, also known as the Kizer Ppy. In case you guys don't know, the owner of Kizer is a huge dog lover, and so this is named after, it's called the puppy. There's several knives that they make that are named after dogs. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to put up a spec sheet over here in case you are interested in a knife, because there's nothing wrong with the knife. It's just something that just doesn't appeal to me real well. I have some suspicions. We'll look at some of the reasons I think I don't like it overall, but it's just like a culmination of things like I don't like this knife. So your opinion may vary. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to do some size comparison. Your first knife is going to be the Concept Prickle, which is a knife I do like, and I'm trying to use this as comparison as a first one because the profiles of these knives are not so dissimilar. I mean, the handle shape's a little bit different, but I definitely like this knife a lot more than I like this one. So there's your Concept Prickle. It's not a real big knife, as you can see. So your next size comparison is going to be the Spyderco Endura 4. This one is done in ZDP 189. As you can see, this is a knife most people are going to know as a size reference. So you can see significantly smaller than the Endura. So kind of a medium size to smaller knife. As always, your last knife is going to be the Chris Reeves Sebenza. So as you can see, significantly smaller than the Sebenza. It used the Sebenza in every video. If you're just tuning in one of these videos, you'll see this as the final size comparison in pretty much every video because it's a knife that most people are going to have as a point of reference that they recognize. So let's get this out of the way and let's talk about this knife a little bit. So it's not a quality issue or anything on this knife. This knife is done in a spear point blade. It's got a very nice grind on it. It is done in 154 cm with black and red micarta handles. They did an amazing job on these handles. The handles are great. They obviously did a very good job of making these a composite handle together where you got two separate pieces of micarta. All the hardware is recessed. It's nice and smooth. There's no real hot spots except for the ones we'll get into later. You've got decent jimping and a fairly decent blade grind. So the things that I've noticed about this knife is it's a well-made knife. It's just one that I don't like. So we'll talk about a few good things. You have a very nice, very slim profile on this knife. Really good access to the lock bar. Edge geometry on this is pretty good. I did a good bit of cutting with this, and it's dropped up and came back up on a ceramic rod very, very easily. Everything on this is done very well. You have a very attractive look with this black and red, like I said before. Really well done handle material. You do have a lanyard hole, reversible pocket clip. If you guys like lanyard holes, that's fine. I'm not a fan of the hole. I wish there was a different way they had done it. But if you like lanyard holes, there you go. Everything's been chamfered. You do have that redacted scale look where you can see the scale all the way around. Because the scales are, you can see the liner all the way around because the scales have been cut back a little bit. Lots of weight reduction. Lockup on this thing is great. You've got really good access to the lock bar. And the blade shape lends itself to doing a lot of good tasks. Your jimping is just I have to say, the good things we're going to talk about this knife are very good. It has got a very good placement of the jimping. Instead of being just back here at the thumb stud area where you really don't need it that much, when you get up on it and do some heavy cutting, you've got that jimping right there. And the jimping is not softened. It's aggressive enough that it's there. You're not going to slip off of it, but it's also not the big jimping, which I can be a fan of as well, like some of Elliot Williamson's big half circle jimping that he does. But this is not as intrusive in the lines of the knife, and you still get really good purchase on that jimping. There is a slight recurve to the blade, which I don't mind. I don't know whether that's intentional or it was a misgrind. It kind of comes up at the heel here, but it does cut very well. Like I said, access to the lock bar is great. They did a really good job of sculpting this out and keeping it nice and clean, and it doesn't feel like that's unusual in hand. Lockup on it is really good. There is no play in this, and the action is really, really good. It is a thumb stud opener only, and the thumb studs on it are really nice. Those are good thumb studs. I like them. They stick up just a little bit proud of the scale area here, but not taller than the scales themselves. So they're a little bit taller than this little chamfered out area, which gives you really good ease of access. And the action on this is fall shut. It is truly a fall shut knife. You've got really good, like I said, good placement to hardware, nothing sticking up, nothing sharp, domed pivots. There's no sharp spots on that. And as you would expect, all Torx construction so that you can take it apart and clean it up if you need to. I would say, sorry, motorcycle. I would say that this pocket clip has a little bit of play in it. I would like to see that done a little bit differently, but we'll talk about that when we get to the bad. But like I said, ambidextrous pocket clip on that. So there's a lot of good things about this knife, but I still don't like it. And I think it's just a culmination of a bunch of things. So let's go ahead and we'll take a look at this. We'll take a look at the flip side, the bad. Sorry about having to throw an advertisement in, guys. I have to do that occasionally. The bad things about this knife, there's just more discomfort I get out of using this knife than there is comfort. First things first, it's really similar to a lot of knives that I already have and I already use and I've already seen. It just doesn't do any of the things better than any of the others. Like I said, it looks really good. The handle material and everything's really good. What I have to say is it doesn't feel right in my hand. It just feels awkward in my hand. Even with the pocket clip off, it feels a little awkward, and I'm not 100% sure if it's just the dimensions of this. I have a very sneaking suspicion it's because this is so very thin right there. It does not feel like it's the way I want it. Even though it's a really good profiled handle and everything, it just doesn't sit in my hand the way I want. So if you got really large hands, might be something that you want to take a look at before you purchase it. There's a couple of other things that kind of drive me nuts. That pocket clip, I mentioned it. They did not recess this out. So when you're going to surface mount a pocket clip, especially on a material like micarta, you got to make sure, like any pocket clip really, I would prefer to have a little milled out spot, and then you could mill this out and put a little plate in here with 2 screws that would keep your screw holes for ambidextrous carry clean. The bearings have got a weird sound. That's not the stop pin that you're hearing, because the stop pin is on the blade. The bearings have a weird clickiness to them, almost like there's a high spot. Can you hear it right there? You can hear the bearings kind of like there's like a high spot on one of the bearings. It's like tick, 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 tick. It doesn't affect the function, but for some reason that drives me nuts. I can't unfeel that and unhear it. And you can definitely feel it when you're closing the knife. The pocket clip is another big reason why I don't like this knife. This pocket clip, I'm going to keep saying it until they change it. If I would absolutely find a different pocket clip for this knife. I like the Kizer knives. Sometimes it's not bad on their knives, but I've never grabbed a Kizer knife and said, that's a great pocket clip. If you guys remember, we did a video about this the other day. This is a great pocket clip. Very rarely you're going to hear me say those words. You're never going to hear me say about this pocket clip. These are garbage pocket clips. They run them too tall. They bring them all the way down to the end, and where that puts it in your hand, it's uncomfortable, and it rolls the knife. It makes the knife unusually weird shaped at the tail, and it just does not feel comfortable. I can't tell you how much I despise these type of pocket clips. There are deep carry pocket clips that would work on this. If you're into deep carry pocket clips, you've heard me say that there's been several knives that had deep carry pocket clips that I did not dislike. This is not one of those knives. I absolutely despise this pocket clip. A couple of other little things. It just feels out of balance. And I think that has to do with light blade and then heavy handle material. Even with the lightening, the weight reduction they did, I am a fan of a knife that either has a center balance or a little bit of blade forward weight. And this does not. You can see like even at the center, it just wants to fall. The balance point on this is back like mid knife, like clear back here. And I think that's because there's so much material back here. So, you know, that's probably part of it, is the way it feels in hand, because in the cut, I like to have a little bit of weight forward. And then just a little aesthetic things. Like, I don't like lanyard holes, and they went all in with this lanyard hole. And the fact is, it makes your knife, either way you look at it, your knife looks surprised. It distracts me. I don't like it. Like, that's aesthetically, I find that unappealing, that no matter how I look at it, like, my knife looks surprised. But there's some weird aesthetic things. Like, I don't like that. If this was my knife, this would absolutely go on the Scotch-Brite wheel, and I would contour that in and just round that over, because it's not going to affect. I'm not going to get into any of the important mechanisms on the knife. So I think it's just a culmination of all those things. Yeah, you can't unsee that, can you? You can't unsee the faces on that knife. You can't unsee it. So that's a big one. Like, every time I pulled it out of my pocket, I was like, my knife is looking at me. So all told, it's a very good knife. Good blade shape, good function. The action on it is really good, with the exception of that rattle of the bearings. But just an overall thing for me is it just doesn't feel right in my hand. So that's all I've got on this one. I hate to do it. I like a lot of the Kizer knives. I hate doing it to a knife that is a decent knife. This is a very well built, very well made. I'm sure for a lot of people it's going to be one that would fit the bill, but it's just not the one for me. I tried and tried and tried. If you remember, it's been a while since this went in pocket for the first time, and I liked it on first blush, but after carrying it for a little while, I was like, yeah, no, I just can't get it to feel the way I want for me. So yeah, it's just going to be a no for me, but I wanted to try and like it so much because it is a very attractive knife. So at any rate, guys, let's turn this around, do some final thoughts, and send you out about your day. So there you go, guys. Like I said, there's really nothing wrong with this knife. It's just a knife that I just, having handled, don't like. Looking at this online, I would love this knife. Like, if I go by all the other reviews and everything I've seen online and pictures of this knife, I would buy it all day and twice on Sunday based on appearances. But now that I have it in hand, there's just some things. And I think the big ones are pocket clip and the weight distribution. I think those are the two big things on this knife. So, but like I said, these are just my opinions that I like to put out so that you guys don't fly into a knife purchase blind without at least someone telling you their honest opinions. And like I like to say, you can't ever say that a knife is completely perfect unless it's the deadlock. So guys, that's it on this one. If you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down, but please try to tell me why. I can't change the content if you don't tell me what you don't like. If you want to support the channel, it's as simple as like, share, subscribe, drop a comment, hit the bell icon. If you do hit the bell icon, make sure you've got it set to all and that you've got notifications turned on your device. You get notified of everything I put up every week. Other ways you can do it financially. I have a ton of affiliate links down below. Anything you purchase down below from any of those affiliates directly supports the channel. It doesn't cost you anything at checkout, and I can save you some money with a couple of them. Doll Strong Knives, 10% off your order of either kitchen knives or sharpening stones. Their sharpening stones are great. Coffee Brand Coffee, some of the best coffee I've had in a long time. It's what I drink here in the shop. 5% off your overall order. And 80% off right now at Atlas VPN. You can get 2 years for $44. And that's the VPN that I use when I'm streaming, when I'm gaming, any of those things. Just protects you online, and you can watch videos from overseas that you can't watch on Netflix because of your location. Other ways you can do it, I have a membership that is tier-based. Pick a tier that gets you what you want, but everyone that's a member gets access to my Gilded server. Baseline and premium tier members are automatically entered into a giveaway that I do on the Gilded server. And premium tier members have access to a sharpening tutorial series that I've built for them here on YouTube. And the final is I have a merchandise store on Ember Shirt Co. where you can pick up my merchandise or other creators' merchandise with my coupon code CrazySharp, capital C, capital S, all one word. CrazySharp saves you 10% at checkout. So guys, that's it. I love you all. Keep it clean in the comment section. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. And I will see you in the next video.